Welcome into Hockey Sense, everybody. What's going on? Welcome back. It's a rainy day here on Friday. So just sit back, relax, enjoy some hockey talk over the course of the next several days. I don't know how long, listen, I hope people tune in today. Some people listen on Saturday, Sunday. I hear from people all throughout the week. And we're getting more and more traction here with Hockey Sense since we've taken it to the podcast platform. We love it. We love all of you and appreciate all the support that we're getting from everyone here on Hockey Sense. We had Tynan Lawrence on last week. He's at the World Junior Summer Showcase, had a goal and an assist a couple of games ago. Primarily has been playing as a third-line center there, but he looks good. He looks really good. Good release. He's getting some power play time. Scored a power play goal. These games are available on hnlive.ca. You got to pay a pretty good amount, actually, more than you probably should. It'd be nice if these games were available on free TV or at least on cable television. But you got to pay for them. The Blues have 3 American prospects who are playing with Team USA. And so, again, it's a great event. And this year it's in Windsor, Ontario. A lot of Blues personnel, obviously, they're scouting and watching. And a lot of the players there have already been drafted, but there's some who haven't been drafted. So maybe next week we'll get somebody to come on to kind of recap what took place this week. I think it goes through tomorrow, August 1st. One player that's interesting to pay attention to, though, is this Milton Gastreen. It looks like it's Gastreen, but I was told it's Gastreen. So if I'm butchering the name, I apologize, but that's what I was told is the pronunciation. But it's got a good release. Scored a shorthanded goal a few games ago against Canada, I believe. It's kind of a fortunate break. I think it was Smith, the defenseman for Canada, just tried to make a outlet pass, and he broke his stick. Went right to Gastreen. Actually, Gastreen got the pass, but a quick release. A beautiful shot. I think he scored 10 goals, something like that last year in the Swedish Elite League. We might have to get him on. Swedish Hockey League. Used to be the Swedish Elite League. Now it's the Swedish Hockey League. But he scored another goal against Finland earlier in the tournament on a little bit of a break, went 5-hole. He looks like he has some ability, man. He is a second-round pick. I think people are high on him, but we don't know enough about him. At least, hasn't been with the organization since he was drafted. He was drafted by Washington, so we're learning more and more as we go. And so far, it's good to see. Milton Gastreen, and we'll see what he looks like. I love that conversation with Oskar Sundqvist, man. There's just some people who belong with the Blues and belong in St. Louis, and nothing ever lasts forever, and I get it. But I hope he's able to show enough in camp to, earn a spot. Here's a guy that's not going to complain. He's going to be low maintenance. And I think he is a good example for a lot of the younger players, man. I will say he's practices hard. He brings the energy. He's a throwback guy. He would have been a great player. He would have fit in with the players in the 90s, back in the day, because he's kind of a throwback, but he comes to work and he's ready to go and brings a positive attitude. I love what he said about Colton Parayko and making that comparison to Bo Meester, because it is similar. I mean, this guy, I'm looking at it again the other day, like, I think he's 3 games away from tying Barrett Jackman for the most games played in the history of Blues defensemen. So he's going to pass it in the first, home game maybe? I think the Blues start, 2 or 3 on the road before they come home. So he'll be able to do that at home, which is going to be great. And then you got Bernie Federko just in front of Colton Parayko. And I'd love to see him stick around long enough to break that record. I know it's a cherished record. I don't want to see any Bernie Federko's records get broken, to be honest with you. But, if there's one guy who's going to do it, I would love to see Colton Parayko do it. And I'd love to see Robert Thomas break Parayko's record down the road. And then Snuggerud break his record. I want to see all these guys play with the Blues as long as Colton Parayko has. It's always interesting when you look at that top 10 list of most games played in the history of the Blues, that a guy like Patrick Berglund is on there. David Perron, I think, is 10th all time. Berglund's 9th. That's how long Berglund played in St. Louis. And Jamal Mayers, for example, when he got traded to Toronto, he was top 10 in games played at the time. Now, he's gotten pushed out since then, but it gives you an idea how long he played in a Blues uniform. But you have Alexander Steen is up there, like right around 5 or 6, somewhere around there. But Brian Sutter and Bernie Federko and Brett Hall, all these guys, man, it's just great names. But I love seeing Colton Parayko up there. Will he break Bernie Federko's all-time games played record with the Blues? That'll be interesting to pay attention to and see how that plays out. No real news right now around the NHL outside of Macklin Celebrini signing his big ticket, which is well deserved, And I do think like you have no choice. You got to pay him. I mean, certain guys you just have no problem paying. That is like an investment more so than a risk. You're going to get your money back with Macklin Celebrini. But I'll be curious how all these teams, I look at Montreal, I look at their roster, I look at Florida's roster, I look at Carolina's roster, I look at St. Louis. I mean, look at St. Louis. They got Philip Broberg for the next 6 years making $8 million. And Dylan Holloway for 5 years under $8 million per year. I mean, these are just unbelievable contracts. And I don't know if you're getting these players at the same number if they were to have signed after Leo Carlsson got his offer sheet. It just kind of has changed things a little bit. So, these guys get $18 million offer sheets. I mean, the Blues get Broberg and Holloway an offer sheets that paid them like $4 million and $2.5 million or whatever it was. So it's just amazing when you think back on it and just look back on it. And the fact that the Blues got both these guys. One's a first-line winger, one's a number 1 defenseman for the Blues for a second and third round pick. Like, you got to be kidding me. That is just unbelievable. How organizations can make those mistakes and how that can set you back. I'm curious who you're looking forward to seeing the most in training camp. Like, who is it? Who's the player that you're most excited about? Unfortunately, you don't get these college kids here, so we're not going to see you're not going to see Tyne and Lawrence here in training camp. They should be allowed to come to camp, though, nowadays, especially with these guys all making money and whatnot. It'd be nice to see the college kids come to camp. There was a Blues pick who just flipped his commitment from Boston University. I think it was Luke Shire, right? He flipped his commitment, I want to say, to Boston College from BU. I think there's still talk about him going to Peterborough next year. But Luke Shire now headed to Boston College. That's an interesting commitment flip. When you go from Boston University to Boston College, so a big shout out. I think the third round pick for the Blues. So that's a good get by Boston College. They recruited him really hard. BU did as well. I thought we'd have a couple of players there with BU. I thought we'd have Lawrence and Shire. But he was 75th overall. And some people had him ranked a little bit lower than that, but the Blues took him. They liked him a lot. And he's playing right now in the World Summer Showcase. The Blues have 3 defensemen there from Team USA. You've got Landon Nyes, who they took in the 4th round, and then Nick Bogus, who's shown a couple of things as a 5th round pick, who's representing Team USA at the World Summer Showcase. Be sure to check out these games if you can. I know some people were surprised that Maddox Dejanay didn't get invited to the World Summer Showcase, but, it's become a 19-year-old tournament for the most part. And he doesn't turn 19 not until next March. That's how young these guys are. Tyne and Lawrence, by the way, is still 17 and doesn't turn 18 until next Monday is when he turns 18. That tells you how young he is, He's a kid, man. You have him on last week. I mean, you can just tell he's a kid. I thought he represented himself really well. And it was great to see Tyne and Lawrence join us here on Hockey Sense. All right, good conversation coming up with Jamal, and a even better conversation with Oskar Sundqvist. You're not going to want to miss that with Sonny. We get into a lot of different things with Oskar Sundqvist, so we'll go short here on Hockey Sense. Or excuse me, with our intro here on Hockey Sense. Brought to you by First Community. FirstCommunity.com. Do your banking, do it the right way. Find the banking solutions that work best for you. So many different accounts and so many different ways for you to store your money, do your banking, find ways to make more money. They're so smart over there. Plus, they've got the Little Blues program. Sign your son or daughter up for Little Blues and do it today. It's the best way to get your son or daughter introduced into the game of ice hockey. See if they like it before you invest thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm booking flights today for my kids' weekends out of town for our AAA Blues team, man. The flights are not cheap nowadays. Holy smokes. We need an airline sponsor here on Hockey Sense. We got to find that. Holy crap. The tickets are so expensive right now to get out of town. But it is what it is. If they love it, you want to give them an opportunity to go there and do what they love. And there's nothing like playing hockey, man. It is fantastic. Started with Little Blues, brought to you by First Community. First Community also brings you the Blues Hall of Fame. And they now have their name on the jersey of every SIU Edwardsville sport team. So baseball, soccer, whatever it is, football. Hey, you'll see the First Community logo on the jersey. They are the official jersey sponsor of Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. So a big shout out to First Community and SIUE coming together. Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Today is a day. Now, you're not on the roof today. It's raining like crazy, but if you suffer any wind damage, hail damage, storm damage, call David Novak and let him take great care of you. If you need a new roof, let him come and take great care of you. Soffit, fascia, siding, whatever it is you're looking for. Roofing, obviously, is their bread and butter. But wind, hail, storm damage, 314-920-5713. David Novak, he is the absolute best when it comes to everything I just mentioned. Call him today. He'll talk pucks with you, too. Let him talk some hockey, 314-920-5713 with David Novak and Blue Note Roofing. Dirt cheap, fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. God, man, don't sleep on all the paper goods they have for your parties. If you have any back-to-school parties, backyard barbecues, all your paper plates, paper or your plasticware, all that type of stuff, napkins, decorations, best selection of beer, wine, and booze, too, over at Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. So check that out and get there today. Find a location nearest you, download the app, you get free delivery with the app. Blues game days, there's big discounts. Stop into a Dirt Cheap location and do it today and find out why they're the leader when it comes to having the best selection of beer, wine, and booze. They've got that walk-in beer cooler, which is incredible. When it's 100 degrees, man, you know where to find me. You find me in that walk-in beer cooler over with Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Lordo's Diamonds, get that special someone something special in your life, will you? They have the best selection of engagement rings. All the guys out there, you're looking for watches. They got great selection of watches, chains, anniversary gifts, Christmas gifts. Never too early to start looking for that. Birthday, 16th birthday, 21, all the big birthdays, you know? Check that out and check it out today. First Community, or excuse me, LordosDiamonds.com. Right there, right next to Truffles, 314-432-8008. LordosDiamonds.com. Say hi to Mike and Jimmy Lordo when you walk on in. They are the absolute best. They'll treat you the same. No matter you're coming in with a $500 budget or a $500,000 budget, you get treated exactly the same. Because they're good people. That's who they are. St. Louis Lawn Care.com. Now, these guys are so good, man. I told you I have my lawn is looking like Petco Park in San Diego. That's how nice it looks in my backyard. They're like, who cuts your grass? People ask me, who cuts your grass? Well, I'll tell you who does. That's St. Louis Lawn Care. That's who cuts my grass. They are the best in the business, man, and I mean that. And it's not just lawn mowing, although they do that at the highest level. Fertilizer program, the sod installation, you can do that. Snow removal is amazing. So when the snow comes, you know who to call. St. Louis Lawn Care. They do mulching, aeration, the overseeding, which is incredible, leaf removal. You're going to need that before you know it. And the mosquito and bug control, which is key. If you're like me and you want to hang out outside in your spasm or hot tub, you better have the mosquito and bug control, which we have. There's no bugs in my backyard. 314-974-5911. 314-974-5911. STLLawnCare.com. That's the website. But 314-974-5911. Tell them I sent you when you call them over at St. Louis Lawn Care. They're the best. All right, let's step aside. Jamal Mayers, he joins us next here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Don't go anywhere. All right, Jammer's with us. Always great to see you.
You too, buddy.
The weather, you made it through the weather today. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it.
We all know that St. Louis, if it's raining, it changes things with the traffic and stuff. I've noticed that over the last 25 years.
How's it been for you? You've moved a little bit, so now you're a little further away from the studio. Are you adjusting to your new confines there?
Yes, we're excited. It's going to take some time,
Mm-hmm.
But it's been great. So far, so good.
All right, so hockey's about to start. You got the World Summer Showcase right now going on, which I just love watching. Anytime you get like international or elite level players all on the ice at the same time, it's always exciting, especially with a lot of guys who've been drafted in the NHL already and just kind of getting a feel for a lot of these guys. But like, when did you typically ramp it up? Like, when do you ramp it up? I feel like these kids, I had Tynan Lawrence on last week, who the Blues took 11th overall. You know, he's skating 5-6 days a week, you know, like throughout the summer. Like, he's going back to BU and just got drafted. And for a lot of guys, you know, you get drafted high or you get drafted at all. I mean, that's the clock starts over again, right? It's not like you can just take a deep breath and relax. Now the clock gets going once again.
I think it's changed. Obviously, I'm 52. So in my generation, you really didn't put your skates back on until August. And I think that anxiety helped get you mentally prepared, and it was probably the mental break that you needed. I think there's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
I think that 5 days a week is probably too much. I think taking a couple weeks off the ice when the season ends, and a lot of it is predicated on how's your body feeling.
Yeah.
Are you prehabbing, rehabbing, doing things to get your body right? But a lot of these professionals out there, like Matt Nickel and who was kind of my guy for the last 10 years of my career.
Ben Prentice.
Yeah, they have like
Gary Roberts.
Yeah, they have a program and a plan in place for each player that is very individualized. And I think that that's the best part. And I think that you also have to listen to the player. If the player feels more comfortable getting on the ice, then the conversations I'm guessing, are more tailored to, you need to stay off the ice. If it's a player that doesn't really want to get on the ice, or maybe they say, hey, a couple times a week would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a balance. You know, I wonder, especially for younger players, there's a window to get stronger faster, and you want to make sure you take advantage of that, and that's making sure you're in the gym and doing the things you need to do to become a better athlete.
Yeah. No, it's always important. What do you think Gary Roberts and these guys charge these players, man? You know, and like the Ben Prentices, the Matt Nichols, all these guys who, you know, their names are attached with training elite level players. What's the price to train with these guys?
I don't know, but I do know that about 15, 20 years ago, it was 15 grand.
For what? That's like for
per year.
an 8 week or
but
for 8 weeks or for like a summer or for like the entire year, like they're sending you stuff.
For the entire year, I guess. But this is my thought. Okay. If you go, I think I can value and understand the cost the first year. They're getting to know you. They're doing tests. They're figuring out where your weaknesses are, and they're tailoring things for you.
Yeah.
The next year and beyond, they already know you. They already know who you like, how your body operates. I feel like should it be the same? You know,
I don't know.
It's information, right? I always say this. Even when the Blues and a lot of the Blues were going to a certain direction when I was playing, to certain trainers, I always said it's information. You still have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And the information only changes so much year to year. Now, if you looked at 1 year and then you looked at year 8, yes, the methodologies and the training things have changed. But year to year, I would argue that they probably don't need to be charging you the same amount after that initial year.
In season versus off season. How often should you be in the gym?
Well, at the end of my career, and all the players here playing today will tell you that there is a schedule for their workouts
Mhm.
throughout the entire season,
Yeah.
and that is all predicated on the game schedule. So there are times at the end of my career where there was workouts after games.
Like
'Cause
like like what are you doing? Like riding the bike? Like
No, riding the bike and lifting
after games.
after games.
After a 7 o'clock game.
After 7 o'clock game, there was like a 25, 30-minute workout and a lift, because what they've figured out, and I'm sure it's still the same, is that it's better to have a longer rest between and get the workout in, get the lift in
Mhm.
after the game, even if you're not at 100% strength, to get that lift in there. Rest wise, it's more beneficial.
Mm. Cold tub when you were playing?
Oh, yeah. Cold tub, hot tub, contrast. That was sauna, contrast. That was a thing.
When did nutrition become a thing?
I think it started to get in there when, the better players started taking care of themselves,
Mhm.
if I'm being honest.
Mhm.
I think the advantage
Like they
for
see what the best players are doing.
Yeah, well, what happened was, I think there was a time at the beginning of my career, and I'm talking about 96,
Mhm.
that when you came to training camp, if a guy looked out of shape, in my mind, I was like, "Oh, he must be really good
Mm. 'Cause he can get away with
because
it.
he can get away with it."
A
And
Grant Fuhr or
they were
whatever.
just so good.
Yeah.
They didn't have to be this unbelievable most fit
Specimen.
player.
Yeah.
And then as the better players, in my opinion, started becoming more fit and more dialed into the nutrition and
Mhm.
supplements and such, the advantage started to lessen, and because they were better players to begin with, and then they became, it kind of set the tone for where it was going, as far as the trends, if you will.
Yeah. Alright, so Celebrini should pay for his entire team to train. And he can afford it now. Although, I was looking at some of the bigger deals of guys signing out of entry level and I think McDavid signed for $100 million, 3 more years. He got 8 years versus 5. So 5 years, 94 million, 18.8. And, listen, I think people misunderstood a little bit. Some people did on Twitter because I'm curious. I said, I'm curious how some of these teams are going to build around these players that are making 18, $17 million. Like, you have no option but to sign them. I mean, if you have a Macklin Celebrini, you're not going to like not sign them and trade them or whatever. You have to sign them, and that's the going rate. And I know the cap is going up. And I'll be curious if this is something we see year after year after year, or if this is kind of something we're going to see in the short term where guys are getting this type of money. But how do you build around them? I think is something that'll be interesting to see.
Well, I think you have to dive into the numbers, and I should be more prepared, but I might misspeak, but um, I did look at when Sidney Crosby took a team-friendly deal
Hmm.
relative to what the cap was. I believe he took around 16%
Yeah.
of that number.
And Malkin did around the same. Yeah.
Okay, and now you're seeing Matt Celebrini take 18%.
Hmm.
He didn't take 20%.
Which I think is around where McDavid and Draisaitl, they were all around 18%.
Okay, so the point being is
Yeah.
that was done with thought in mind,
Hmm.
to allow the team to also be able to go out and fill the roster and make sure they can build a team. So I think that's what we have to do. You have to do a deeper dive
Sure.
into the numbers relative to the cap as it goes up and what percentage that player's taking.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was something that Macklin was very mindful of, knowing him a little bit, that he wanted to make sure that they can surround him with a great team.
How much pressure do you think there is on superstars from the Players Association to make sure they're maximizing their value? And not, like, listen, some guys maybe just be really good guys and be like, I can live off $10 million a year, but they're not going to do that. And that wouldn't be good for the Players Association either.
I think there is some of that. I think that ultimately, I think hockey players are kind of, most of us, cut from the same cloth.
Hmm.
And the difference in your life, making 15, well, quite frankly, making 10 and making 18 is not.
Although all these guys are talking about, oh, we get taxed this much. And they think they're the only people in the world that get taxed. So now you have to live off of like 7 million, versus 10 million. I get it, you know what I mean? And they are taxed an awful lot because they don't realize players, when you get taxed in every city you play in.
Yeah, that's true. And there's a few years, 10, 15 years ago, they started this thing where, an entertainment tax.
Yeah.
These taxes, just this making up tax
Mhm.
to get entertainers and athletes, which I thought was a little bit ridiculous, but
Mhm.
it is what it is. No one's going to feel sorry for the athletes making all that money.
Yeah. I'm looking at the best groups of players, the best core groups in the league under the age of 25, and people are talking about San Jose, you look at Anaheim, you can look at Chicago. I mean, Philadelphia has a good core group of players. Montreal, I mean, they're unbelievable in terms of their core group of players under the age of 25. When you look at Caulfield, who's still under 25, and Demidov and Slafkovsky and all these guys. I mean, even a Tim Stützle in Ottawa, he's not even 25 yet.
Right.
So a lot of great young players, man. I
Mhm.
mean, I did you have that when you came into the league? Were teams building around players 25 and under, like to the rate they are now?
No, no, I think that's not the way it was. As you know, free agency didn't come until you were 31, and guys were
Mhm.
signing
Which is
their
crazy to me.
9-year deals or 8-year deals, I believe, at that time. So, um, I think that there's a lot of estimating, prognosticating, hoping that your younger player is that. You have to draft well, you have to develop well, and you have to believe that you've got the right guys
Yeah.
because you have to pay your guys. And I think that um, that's what you're seeing. I think that that's going to be the real challenge going forward. And I think that sometimes people are over analyzing and discussing what's happening with guys going to form super teams and doing all these
Yeah.
things because I think that window is only because of the cap going up so significantly. I think that once that window, everything will kind of
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
gravitate
was saying.
down and
It's a
in the
short-term
sand. It's
thing.
a short term thing. I think once that the sand kind of clears,
Mhm.
it'll kind of even itself out, and the money will be distributed the way it should be.
All right, before I let you go, because I'm curious your take, and people always want to know your take on the Blues. Where do you see St. Louis this year? Just in terms of what their roster is going to look like, and you bring Brandon Carlo on board. I know he's a veteran D, who I think they bring on board as insurance for Jurasek in case he's not ready. Who they think is going to be a player. So you've got between Carlo, Tucker, Jurasek, one of those three is going to be in the lineup every single night with Cam Fowler on the back end. Assuming Lidstein is who we thought or think he is based off of what we saw at the end of last season, and he can still fit in with Colton Parayko in your top four, and then Broberg and Mayu. But your forward group, and bringing Ross Johnston on board now, and Oskar Sundqvist, who's going to join us in a couple of minutes, like it's going to be all the competition's kind of in the bottom part of your roster offensively. But how do you look at St. Louis? What do you like about them?
Well, I think they're a playoff team.
You do.
I do. I think that it's not going to be easy,
Hmm.
obviously, with the Central Division and all the teams that are there that are looking to take a step. Um, the reality is that they're kind of stuck in that middle. Are they guaranteed a playoff team? I think we're all hopeful that that's going to be the
Yeah.
case. But that's a tough place to be, and it's really hard to take that step forward. So I'm really curious to see what happens, quite honestly, in the next 2 to 3 years as Alexander Steen puts his fingerprints on this roster and figures out a way and goes the direction that he wants to go.
Hmm.
I have all the faith and confidence that you know, he is the right guy. He'll kind of, but I'm interested to see, as Doug will still be advising and helping, but I really am interested to see the differences
Hmm.
in how Steiner decides to make decisions and what direction he chooses to go. That may mean he decides to get rid of guys that he played with
Hmm.
just because of the optics and the way he wants to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
That may mean that he decides, you know what, it's time for Binner to move on. That may mean it's time for us to focus on these 4 or 5 players and let's go younger.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see, but I think this year is kind of a um, kind of a bridge between Army and Steiner, and I think that they're stuck in that middle where I do believe they're a playoff team, but they very well might not make the playoffs, and that really puts Steiner in a tough position about, okay, what direction are we going into? And maybe that's a healthy thing for this organization to go through,
Yeah.
is maybe they don't make the playoffs, and it
Mm.
makes it an easier decision for Steiner to
To
kind of
move on
strip
from
things
certain
away.
guys. Yeah. But they should, with the goaltending they have. I mean, they should be in the mix. Real quick, who could you see falling out of the Central? Like, um, could Minnesota take a step back? I mean, they have such great players up top, or do you
No,
automatically put them in
no, I think they're in.
Colorado,
Colorado will be there. Dallas,
Dallas?
Dallas will be there. I think Winnipeg, everyone's thinking that that was a
But they didn't
kind
make the
of
playoffs
you
last
know,
year, right?
but everyone was thinking they're going to come back to
Mhm.
where they were. They had a tough injuries that up the middle. They made some
Could Utah
tough
fall back?
decisions.
They
That
made
could be
they made
one.
some additions.
I like what they've
Me
done.
too.
So it's like I said, it's going to be a really difficult spot for the Blues
Yeah.
to make the playoffs. But you're right. There's always a few surprises out
Yeah.
of nowhere. It could be Dallas that doesn't have a
Right.
good season.
Teams always fall in, and the same teams don't make the playoffs every year.
Who would have thought the Jets would have had the season they had?
Yeah. It's interesting you bring up Doug Armstrong too, because he's going to be working very closely with Alexander Steen, and for good reason. And hey, I just wonder, with a guy like him, with all these teams, some teams looking for executives, man, like, who is Detroit calling Doug Armstrong? You know what I mean? Would they try to pry him away? Toronto couldn't do it, even though they never really officially called. But I don't think the Blues were interested in letting him go anyway. It's the timing is not good for the Blues to let Doug Armstrong move on. It just wouldn't make sense when you consider you're transitioning into a first-time general manager. It's such an advantage for Alexander Steen to have Doug Armstrong
Yeah,
around.
I mean, listen. You know what? Steiner is a very smart hockey person.
Mhm.
I think you look at the general manager that's in the New York Islanders and Matthew Darsh.
Mhm.
Did he have a mentor watching
I know.
him?
In Chicago, like, they got a lot of guys.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine. Hey, and I'm with you there.
So I think that sometimes we overstate
Yeah.
that support that he'll need, and I think that I think there are going to be teams that are going to want Army to, and I think I'd be interested. I think he still has that fire and that
Oh,
juice, and we'll look forward
if
to
I'm
some kind of
Detroit,
challenge.
I'm calling Doug Armstrong.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
I am.
I hear you.
All right, who brings you to a hockey sense this week?
Well, obviously, we've got Dobbs, and it's a family-owned business, over 40 locations in St. Louis. The best thing about what they do, and we've talked about it often, but I can't understate it enough, they're honest. And when you go in there to get your car, truck, or SUV, hybrid, EV, whatever it is, they diagnose it. They'll get it up in and fixed and out in the same day. Best part is they've got deals all year round. Doesn't matter what you drive. They'll come in if you need your tires. If they'll be honest, I went in there, didn't need all 4 tires changed, got 2 tires changed. They said you can wait on the other 2. Decided to do all 4.
And no one tells you that. Everyone says you need 4.
Exactly.
And I could use some Dobbs tires today.
And it's just unbelievable.
rain.
The best part is you don't even need an appointment. Half the time I go in there, doesn't matter who you are, they go in there and they'll get your car in, up, fixed, and out the same day. Go to Dobbs.com for more.
Love it.
Well-
Spa some more, baby. It's not really a great hot tub day today.
It was last night.
I was in it last
Oh,
night.
Me too. It's not the same hot tub. Let's make
No,
that clear.
it was. I was in it last night. It was nice.
All right, local master spas dealer with 2 locations, Sunset Hills in Missouri and Overland Park in Kansas City. Mike Leahy's the owner. His daughter, Angie Hess, does an amazing job with Brian Oldham and runs the Sunset Hills location. They offer unbelievable high quality hot tubs, swim spas, cold tubs, infrared saunas for all of your health and wellness and relaxation needs. Turn your backyard into the oasis of your dreams with a master spas from Spas and More. Spas and More, located at 12957 Gravois Road in Sunset Hills,
Where we put the I in spa. All right, Jamie, great to see you.
You too, bud.
Enjoy your weekend.
All right.
All right, Oskar Sundqvist with us. Always great to catch up with Sonny. Why do you love St. Louis so much? I got to ask you that right off the bat, man. I mean, everyone appreciates that about you, and it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to truly believe it. And when you say it, it's as genuine as it comes. When did you fall in love with St. Louis? How long did it take you to truly love the fans and the organization in the city?
Didn't for me it didn't take too long at all. Even if my first year was rough, I felt from day one that I was accepted and was this whole organization and city is like a big family. I always got treated very well. So for me to really fall in love with St. Louis was pretty quickly, and then obviously it's been growing more and more over the years. I like I said, it's like a big family, the whole city and the organization, and uh, I love every part of the city with great restaurants, a lot of stuff to do around, and just be out and meeting people randomly. It's awesome.
Do you feel the love back? Do you feel it from the fans?
Oh yeah, no, you definitely do. I think all of the players do really. I think St. Louis is such a great sports town, very underrated sports town. Uh, we got the soccer team that's sold out every night, and we got our rink basically sold out every day. They're there even even if we haven't been our best the last couple of years. Same with the soccer team, they're still there supporting us day in and day out. So it's amazing sports town.
All right, so your first season in St. Louis, Sonny, you had one goal in 42 games. What do you make out of that year? How difficult was that season for you, and how were you able to stay positive and keep your confidence where all of a sudden you come back and I mean you're a major piece of a Stanley Cup winning team?
Honestly, it was hard. Uh, I did not think it was gonna go the way it did the first year. But at the same time, I had amazing support around the team with guys like Steiner, Brodziak, Chris Thorburn, veteran guys that helped every day. Basically, that story with me and Chris Thorburn with the we were both at 0 goals, and whoever scored first, the other guy had to buy him dinner. So when I scored my first goal, he always had to buy me dinner, but he scored his first goal of the season the next game. So he tried to get it to be a tie, but he definitely wasn't. So he still had to buy me dinner. So we still had fun, and that like I said, like all the veteran guys in that team really helped throughout the season.
Yeah, because it can't be easy, right? You're coming to a new organization. You wanna prove who you are, and but you stuck with it, and you had 14 goals the next season with Barbership. Are you surprised to see Barbie move on and become the player that he is today, being like a bona fide top six guy? You can put him on the power play. This scores a shit ton of goals too, Sonny.
Yeah, no, not at all. He was amazing to play with and super easy to play with. He can do it all. So I'm not surprised where he's at today, and how good he's been playing. You could see that kind of when I was playing with him, that didn't really matter where you put him. He's gonna be a guy that everyone loves to play with, and I'm pretty sure that Eichel and those guys loves to play with him, because like I said, he's so all around and can do the dirty work and still dish you a nice pass. So no, not surprised.
Yeah, and he crushes guys too.
Oh
Um,
yeah, he does. He doesn't look like a guy that can run you over, but I tell you what, he's rock solid.
oof. And he fights too. Like I mean, if he
Yeah.
he's like a confident fighter than when he drops the gloves. Hey, these young kids that come into the organization, if they were to ask you what kind of player Alexander Steen was, and because you played with him, not only on the same team, but obviously on the same line in really important games at the highest level, like how do you describe him as a player?
I mean, a guy that comes into the rink every day to do the work, to see him how he prepared for practices and games, how professional he was in every aspect of what he did, and to back it up with how he was playing too. He was in the Blues top six for, I don't know, over 10 years, and he was still the hardest working guy during practice days and game days. So just to see, I would say like, even with his skill and talent, for young guys to if you can take anything from Alex Steen, it would probably be his work ethic. He really worked his ass off, and that's kind of what we need to get back to with our guys too, and me included, to just show up every day and work our asses off and kind of lead the way. Show the younger guys that way how we do things with the Blues.
It was a different type of negotiation for you. I mean, you end up signing a two-way deal. Was that difficult to do? And how much are you betting on yourself that you can earn a roster spot, and you're going to be a part of this team? Like, what's your mentality now the rest of the summer and entering training camp?
Uh, it was. I mean, it was like I said. It wasn't really what we hoped for, but that's life. It doesn't always you don't always have the win in your back. It's gonna push back sometimes too. So, uh, but I'm still excited. Right now for me, it's just to do my part here this summer and work as hard as I can and be as prepared as I can and come in and show Steen and those guys that I really want the roster spot, and I'm not gonna back down and kind of lay down flat because have a two-way deal. I'm gonna come into this training camp and show them that I deserve to be with the Blues and be up here for the rest of the season. So no, just excited for a challenge, and like I said, I have to come in as prepared as I can.
And I know you will, but you haven't been in this position in a long time. So, how will you approach training camp this year? Is it going to be different, or you've always been serious and a hard worker and a guy who brings it when it's time to be serious? You can always count on you from a work ethic and an effort standpoint. So, do you really have to adjust anything or make any changes, or what's your approach going to be?
I mean, a little bit. It's a little bit different now than we'll say uh, 8 9 years ago when I came in here. It's a different game for me. It's more getting my conditioning up and stuff like that, and just be able to take those little extra strides out there. So changing up a little bit with how I'm working out this summer, more with trying to get the lungs and stuff like that going. So it, it's changing a lot, and you have to adapt with it, otherwise you get left behind. So uh like I said, I'm still excited for a challenge, and it it is a new old situation for me, and this kind of challenge is usually lights a fire under my ass, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, you never have to really change. I mean, the game doesn't get easier, but at the same time, you get smarter, you get older, you get more experienced. Yeah, are you able to compensate and make some adjustments to your game and still be just as effective, maybe without being the fastest guy on the ice, Sonny, which you don't have to be effective?
That's Yeah, I think so. It's still, uh if you're smart, you're still gonna be able to play, and for me, like I said, it's more now try to be one step ahead of the guys out there, since you're not the fastest or something like that, especially with knee and hip surgeries. You're definitely not going to be the fastest guy, but I still feel like I'm a really, really smart hockey player, and I can read the player very well. So just for me to use that and be a step ahead in that way, and kind of predict where the next play is gonna take place. So uh it'll be a little bit more stuff like that I can rely on.
How was your experience playing in the World Championships? And I know you got an injury. I was actually watching the game when you got hurt. Like, walk us through what happened and how you're feeling now.
uh kind of kind of saw him the whole way there through the neutral zone, and just try to get away from him. I did not think he was gonna I thought that he was gonna kind of abort the hitting, try to hit me, especially when I got away. unfortunately he went knee on knee, and it's for me, with my history with knee injuries, it's a scary situation to be in. And you know you don't know what's wrong when the moment happens, and you're fearing the worst, obviously. Luckily, I came back to St. Louis right after, couple of days, 2 days after that game, and did an MRI here in St. Louis, and we got the best possible result back, that no ligaments were torn or anything. So, but still, you get really scared when stuff like that happen. You feel pain, but you don't know what's wrong. But no, like I said, I got lucky, and uh, it only took a week or two to heal. So I'm very very lucky with that hit, and I'm fully healthy.
Yeah, I love hearing it. So no structural damage, because that's the last thing you want when you go play in a tournament like that. You don't want to get hurt, right? That's just the last. That's not why you're over there to risk. I mean, I guess there's always an injury risk, but you want to come out of it healthy. So it's good. It's good to hear that it's nothing serious and that you're all good moving forward. So, but you've had some injuries, man, over the years. So you've been through it, so you know. Were you fearing the worst, or did you know that, hey, it's not as bad as what you've experienced in the past?
No, you definitely fear the worst, because the pain was kind of the same as the previous ones. And like, especially with ACL, it's usually a lot of pain, and then it goes away and you kind of feel fine. And it was kind of the same scenario. So definitely fear the worst, and I didn't really calm down until I got the MRI results back 3 or 4 days later. So uh, you definitely fear the worst the whole time through, especially when you've been through it, and like I said, I know what pain, what it feels like, and usually like how it happens, and it kind of have exactly the same pain as the other two. So that's why I wasn't calm until the MRI results came back.
It's a long flight back to St. Louis too, isn't it? Like not knowing.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Luckily I had my wife and my kid with me, so it was easy to think of other stuff, to just be able to play with my kids. So that definitely helped.
Did you have did you have options to leave? Did you consider leaving, or was it always about staying in St. Louis?
It's always the first option was to stay with St. Louis, and that's what I wanted to do. And um, it didn't look like it was gonna happen at first, uh, but as the weeks went on, and I had um, couple 3 4 meetings with Steiner. As those meetings went on, we it felt more that um, they wanted to keep me in one way, and obviously they cannot give me a one way, and this is what it's gonna be if you want to stay here. And I said that I definitely want to stay here. So let's let's try to figure something out. And so I'm happy we got something done. And like I said, I didn't think I was gonna stay here, but it was always my first option to stay in St. Louis.
All right, so everyone knows you enjoy life. You always have a smile on your face, but how do you keep hockey fun to where you're going to the rink and you're excited to be there, and hockey stays fun after you've been doing it as long as you have been?
I think it's pretty easy with the younger guys too, and like with the group we have. Even the group we have ever since I've been in my first year, it's always been fun to come to the rink. It's always been a great group of guys that really enjoys to be with each other. So like, just that locker room feeling really makes everything a lot of fun. And like during the summer, even like this short time during the summer now, when all the guys are home and stuff like that, you kind of already start missing it. You miss that chit chatter on the rink and chirping each other and stuff like that. So definitely like all the guys in the locker room makes it a lot of fun and makes you feel a lot younger than 32.
Yeah, oh my god. And you're still young, man. You're still in your prime, Sonny. Don't let anyone tell you anything different. Hey, there was so much talk about guys moving on and being traded at the trade deadline, and a couple of the trades didn't happen. You know, like, how nice is it knowing Parayko's still here and Robert Thomas is here, and it looks like, you know, a lot of that talk that was going on, it's now in the rearview mirror, and everyone can just take a deep breath and focus on playing.
Obviously super happy. Me personally with Parayko to stay. We had a lot of talks with him throughout that deadline, and with the person he is, and how hard it is for him to kind of hear that news, and like he's not a person that uh, really is outgoing with a lot of stuff, but he was a little bit torn that day, and obviously we're super happy to still have him. He's such a big part for our decor, and especially now with like our young guys coming in,
Yeah.
for them to take after what he's doing. He's kind of he. I heard a good analogy about him. He is now what Jay Bowmeister was to him, kind of. So he's now the Jay Bowmeister of the group for the young kids, and to take care of, and like to show with his work and what he does at the rink day in and day out, how to prepare for games and play on the NHL level for young kids. So uh, super happy he's here, obviously. And then obviously Robert Thomas is obviously uh, our best player by far in my opinion. So having him as our first center is awesome. He really see plays that no one else sees, and can make passes like no one else. So to have those guys still here with us is huge for the Blues, I think, and for his future. So I'm really excited to have both of them by my side.
Hey, were you surprised that Theo Lindstein, that he showed he could play so quickly, and the way that he played with Parayko? Like, who surprised you the most of all these young guys? You know, he kind of came later in the year, but was he the biggest one for you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and he was maybe the least talked about. But seeing him coming up and playing the way he did, it definitely surprised me, and I think a lot of other guys. He was very solid, and he like you said, he played alongside with Parayko, which obviously helps. But he did an awesome job in like how his confidence grew. You could see it from game to game. Like the more games he played, the more confidence he got, and he held on to pucks a little bit longer and found that next play. He definitely surprised a lot of guys, I think, with his play in a good way, and he showed, like you said, he showed that he can play on this level, and now he needs to just come in here and do the same thing. He can't let his foot off the gas. He needs to come into training camp and show that he wants a spot from the beginning, and this might be without Parayko, maybe with another D-man. So he needs to show that he can play with anyone out there, and I'm not too worried about his future. Seeing him, he's a very smart hockey player. So we're excited to see how his summer is going.
Yeah, you guys got another young Swede too in the Kyrou deal. This Milton Gastreen. I'm watching him play in the World Junior Summer Showcase, like scoring some nice, like, great release. Like he seems like he could be a player too. So all these Swedes. What do you think of Ivar Stenberg playing with him for a few weeks?
Oh, I love the kid. He was amazing. Obviously, amazing hockey player. So skilled and so poised with the puck. I feel like he is a guy that he dictates the tempo on how fast it's gonna go out there, and that is not a lot of hockey players can do that. He is one of them. You know, his personality outside the ice is amazing. He's such a fun guy to be around. Always happy, always smiling. Obviously, he's 18 years old. It's not a care in the world for him. So he's awesome. Great kid, great guy, and awesome hockey player. And it was amazing to see him for a few weeks and be that close and see what he can do on the ice.
Yeah. You should have negotiated like a Leo Carlson deal or a Celebrini deal, Sonny. You should have got
Yeah, exactly.
18 million plus, man.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. But I see how you're the leader of all these Swedes that are here with Broberg and Stenberg and Berggren, who's an unbelievable guy. Like, I love the collection of Swedes that we have here. I always have had that here in St. Louis, man, and how they all look up to you, man. It's great to see. Before I let you go, what's the most like underrated part of this team? I feel like, people are maybe sleeping on St. Louis a little bit. I think people who are diving deep into the roster be like, wow, this team could be a playoff team. What should people know that maybe they don't know about how good this team can be outside of your great goaltending?
Yeah, I was gonna say the best goaltending in the league. I think there's a great mix, and I think the pieces that they've been adding is really really good pieces for the Blues, both on D and on forward, obviously. I think this team is more skilled, and if we can find a way to all drag it the same way and work together, it's gonna be a really fun season. But I think, like I said, I think the most underrated part is going to be um, our second and third line. I think those two are going to be really good for us.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's a shorter training camp, not as many games either. It's going to be interesting how all that goes. So, I know you're out of town for a wedding, Sonny. I appreciate it, man. Fans always love hearing from you. So, enjoy the rest of your summer. We'll be seeing you at the rink before too long. I mean, it's almost August. August starts tomorrow, so then we're only like a month and a half before training
Oh
camp
yeah,
gets going. So, we'll be seeing you soon, man. Enjoy. Hope the family's doing well. Enjoy the rest of the summer, man. We'll be in touch for sure.
I will. Thanks, Andy. Thank you so much.
All right, Sonny. Take care, buddy.
See you, buddy.
Yep. Thanks, man. All right, so that's Oskar Sundqvist. Great stuff from him. That interview is brought to you by First Community. Hey, I talked about it early in the show. First Community, they put their logo on every single sport jersey across the board with SIUE. Big shout out to First Community. And so now if you ever go watch SIU Edwardsville play in any sport, you're going to see First Community on that jersey, man. So you got to love that. First Community, so many banking options, so many great things they do. Nobody supports hockey in St. Louis like First Community. Give Laura a shout out, Laura Alfelt, and of course Glenn Barks, man. He is the absolute best. And we love the support that they give us here on Hockey Sense each and every week here live from Half Coast Studios. Wouldn't be here without First Community. They are the absolute best. Better get Mako. You hear us say that all the time. Mako. You got to be kidding me. Locally owned and operated since 1982. They've got more than 75 years of combined experience at the Kirkwood Mako. You got to get to the Kirkwood Mako, 840 South Kirkwood Road. You can give them a call, 314-821-4433. 314-821-4433, 840 South Kirkwood. They've got great working relationships with all the insurance providers and fleet management companies, too. They focus on drivable cars. If your car's not drivable, probably shouldn't bring it in. And the reason why they do that, they want to get cars fixed and out. And so no one's waiting for weeks before they can get their car back. They want you to take it in and then get the car back. So as long as you can drive it, you can take it to the Mako Kirkwood location. Take it to that Kirkwood location. They specialize in cosmetic collision repair and auto painting. So again, drivable cars, it allows you to turn around the repairs as quickly as possible. Free written estimates scheduled on the phone, online, or just stop by Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5 p.m. 840 South Kirkwood Road. All right, we appreciate Oskar Sundqvist for joining us. And Jamal Mayers, obviously, earlier in the show as well. We'll come back and wrap things up on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Don't go anywhere. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Hockey Sense. Fun show once again, man. I love talking with Sonny. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Put the comments in there. I love reading the comments. I want to hear what people have to say about Oskar Sundqvist, and anybody else you want us to get onto the show. Let me know. A little bit different in terms of what we do with Cam and Strick. Although Sonny's been on with Cam and I before. Great conversation we had on when we had him on a few years ago. He was awesome. We tried to differentiate the shows a little bit, not to confuse people with Cam and Strick. But we appreciate the support nonetheless, especially from our friends over there at First Community. Check them out, firstcommunity.com. Do that today. Lordo'sDiamonds.com. Get that special someone, something special in your life. St. Louis Lawn Care, STLLawnCare.com. Get that lawn mowing and get it going. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Easy Tiger Cannabis. Top Shelf Cannabis. They're out of Arizona, but they ship nationwide. And if you're dealing with sleep issues, any type of pain, health issues, cannabis can be an amazing remedy for that. Talk to one of the experts. They'll deliver to you. EasyTigerAZ.com, that's the website. Those stores are in Arizona, but they're soon to be nationwide. EasyTigerAZ.com. Everything's cultivated in-house, grown in-house. They've got the chocolates, they've got the candies, they've got everything. And they will make you, whatever you need it for. They've got something for everybody. So check it out, EasyTigerAZ.com for Easy Tiger Cannabis. And of course, everybody over there at Dirt Cheap Fun, Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. 314-920-5713 for Blue Note Roofing. Call David Novak and call him today. All right, we are out of here, man. For Aiden, for everybody affiliated with this edition of Hockey Sense, I'm Andy Strickland, reminding you to keep your head up and your stick on the ice. Training camp just around the corner. But we are in the dog days, but we keep going year-round here on Hockey Sense. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Have a great weekend. We'll do it again next Friday. See you, everybody.